Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Irish Demon here, back with another video. It is great to be back at it. It's great to be here and seeing y'all. Thank you so much for your support over the past few days. Just went through a bit of a rough patch, just with everything that's going on, moving house and all that kind of stuff. Moving house, moving country, moving continent, moving to the other side of this flat and level plane. Anyway, while we're talking about flat and level planes, we've got a new video from our dear friend CC here, Chris, from New York. Let's have a watch, shall we? Whoops. Anyway, as it's probably abundantly obvious, I'm going to be filming this kind of lifestyle, somewhat unedited, just for a little while, while I kind of find my feet again. So bear that in mind. The color grading's probably awful. I look all kind of pink and stuff, but I'll sort it out. Anyway, here goes CC here, Chris from New York.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris
From New York.
Westchester County. It's 7/2/21. Welcome to July. 4th of July weekend. Well, today's a Friday. I want to discuss a couple things with you. I just want you to review. Oh, and by the way, I didn't get any footage last weekend because, of course, it was cloudy. And it looks like it's going to be another washout this weekend, too. 2 weekends in a row. It's great. It's not.
Must be the Illuminati using HARP to put fucking clouds up so he can't take videos of the flat and level plane.
It's on Sunday, though, but that didn't help me because I wasn't down on the beach, obviously, on Sunday. Anyway,
Obviously.
don't worry. Summer's not over. Got plenty of time. Got the artillery. Got the hardware now.
Okay.
I have the hardware to show you that the Earth is flat, that there's no curvature. None. Some old places that I went to are going to be revisited.
Ooh, baby. I can't wait to see this irrefutable proof. I really am excited.
That's right. Anyway, I want you to just review what's going on in the news. I mean, really, usually summer is a very uneventful time. Not much is going on. Yeah, you got your usual stuff.
Isn't summer like the most eventful time? I'm just not trying to split hairs here. I'm just trying to figure out where you're coming from with that. Where I come from, summer was always the most eventful time. But anyway.
That goes on that they talk about, but it's usually an uneventful thing that goes on. Now they are just hitting you with new shit every day. Every day, something new. This collapses. This is going out. This one's got shot. I mean, every day you got something new now, and it's quite humorous and very eventful.
So the news, like, have you ever watched the news before this year? There's always some crazy shit going on. That's just the way the world is. Ah, CC, you poor sweet little baby.
Anyway, one of the main things I do want to discuss with you is what's going on here in New York. You know, with the baby diaper. You know, the diaper
No. What?
people have been wearing. We are now at the 37% threshold.
Oh, he means masks. Oh, okay. I was like, what is he talking about, man? I thought he was talking about that weird prawn that you can find in the dark parts of the internet.
Somewhere around there. When I walk into a store, you don't have to wear anything. Okay, it's your choice now.
That's pretty much, it's been that way here in Western Australia since pretty much day one. To start off, we had a week of lockdown, maybe 2 weeks of lockdown. Everybody wore masks, and then eventually we opened up really, really, really quickly because there was no community transmission here. And I think to date, we've had about 1,000 cases in the whole of Western Australia, and almost all of them were people coming back from other countries, and they were, put into quarantine until they were completely clear. And community-wise, we've had maybe 5, I would say. I guess it's about 5 community transmissions. We just had 2 new ones this week, and we were put straight back into full lockdown for 2 cases. People freaked out over it, but now we're back out of lockdown because there's been no community transmission because we were locked down. I hated the lockdown. Do not get me wrong. I don't care about wearing a mask. Doesn't make a difference to me. But I hate the lockdown so bad because, as you guys all know, I was training for that big motorcycle test that I had coming up. That was cancelled because it was right in the middle of the lockdown, and that drove me mental. So anyway, I get it. Lockdowns suck, but it does seem that they do work when it's implemented properly. But anyway.
37, maybe 40%. Sometimes I walk in, it's 80%. But about 37 to 40% are still wearing face masks. You know, still wearing face masks. And that's fine. That's fine. But I want to thank the New Yorkers that aren't wearing the face masks, okay? I want to thank you for waking up and finally seeing that there's absolutely no need to wear one. If you don't choose to want to wear one, you shouldn't have to wear one. See where I'm getting at with this? I don't know.
It's a selfishness. Okay.
Anyway, look, it doesn't make a difference.
I mean, if I don't have to wear one, I'm not going to wear one. I don't like wearing it. I've got to be honest. Even though I know the science, I know that it doesn't really affect your breathing or anything, I still don't like the feeling of it. I don't like the restriction. I've always been that way, though. Like I couldn't lie with my head under the blanket, for example. I don't like my face being restricted. Like even in a motorcycle helmet, that it takes me about 10-15 minutes to feel comfortable with the helmet back on. But that's just me. But I would still wear it if I'm required to. Also, I'm immunodeficient because I've had meningitis before and a couple other things. So I have to be careful anyway. And maybe it's not the ultimate precaution. I'm sure like a full hazmat suit is probably the best option, but that's just not feasible, is it? So I'm going to take the precautions that I can take. But that's just me. But if there is no community transmission and I'm told it's all good, I've got my flu jab. I've had the first half of my vaccine, going for the next one next week. Then I'm not going to wear it in that scenario if I'm not required to. If I'm asked to, I will, though. Just, out of respect for other people. But, if I had the choice and didn't have to for medical reasons, then I absolutely wouldn't wear it because I hate wearing it. But anyway, moving on.
People are still wearing them, and the people who are still wearing them, fuck you. Okay? That's all I have to say.
Why, though? I mean, how does it affect you if people still wear them? I mean, I've been to Asia. If you've ever been to Asia prior to the pandemic, you'll notice that in Beijing, for example, in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, loads of people wear the masks all the time, like literally thousands of people wear masks because they obviously live in a really densely populated region. They've got a lot of issues there from time to time with these kind of things. So a lot of people wear them. And if people want to wear them, that's their decision. You know what I mean? Like, why fuck you? Why not just, if you want to wear it, you wear it. Go you. Why do you have to shit on people for wearing it if they want to? But anyway.
You're done. You're finished. I can't talk to you, and go away.
What about people who have to wear masks? Some people genuinely do. So, for example, people who have severe lung conditions. So my father-in-law had lung cancer and a few other lung conditions, and it is recommended that he wears a mask all the time anyway, simply to stop particulates and stuff getting into his lungs or whatever. I'm not sure the exact reason why. A lot of people do have to wear them for different reasons. So, just lay off. Who cares? If people want to wear it, let them wear it. Surgeons wear them all day long, 12, 14-hour surgeries, they're wearing them. And they're some of the smartest people on the planet. So I don't think it's as bad as you think it is.
Stop wasting my time.
But how is somebody wearing a mask wasting your time? I find it difficult. And this is the thing. You guys know me. I'm a realist. I just say it as I see it. And if I'm corrected, then I'm corrected. But when I'm like this past week, I've had to wear a mask first time in months, right? And everybody else is too. People in Western Australia have been great for it. You don't get the Karening. They just do it, get it over with. And then we're out of lockdown in a week. That's how we roll. But what I've seen is I've found the interactions with people actually a little bit difficult. Because I'm a baby when it comes to lockdowns and masks because we just haven't had it here. So when it's come here and it's happened, it's like I now understand how everybody else must have felt for the last 2 years. It's crazy. And yeah, I find the interaction with people wearing a mask and me wearing a mask quite difficult because I use a lot of facial expressions when I speak to people. I'm an expressive kind of person, and not being able to do that, not being able to read them, was a little bit confronting to me, actually. But anyway, that's just a little side thing. But anyway, moving on.
Now that the people that have taken off their diaper have woken up to the fact that they've gotten their rights back, why don't I take the opportunity to explain to you that there are other things that you should take a look at too, and one of them being the most important thing is flat Earth. What happens if I
look? Even if flat Earth was true, it would not be the most important thing in the world. You truly believe that the Earth is flat. I know that it's not, based on all the evidence, right? Even if it was flat, if we woke up tomorrow and NASA came out and admitted it's definitely flat, we're sorry, we lied, here's your $52 million a year back, $52 million a day back. Even if that was the case, it still wouldn't be the most important thing. It doesn't affect how we live, because if you believe that the Earth is flat and I believe it's a globe, we're still both living on the same whatever it is. We're going about our daily normal lives. It makes no difference to us. So even if it was true, it wouldn't be the most important thing. Anyway.
I told you that every single day you spent in school, you've been lied to. What happens if I told you that every single science teacher out there has been lying to you about everything across the board?
See, this is part of the problem with flat earthers, with conspiracy theorists in general. It's like all these experts who've spent fucking thousands and thousands of hours studying, working hard, testing, proving their predictions, etc., they're all wrong. Every single one of them is wrong. Not just the scientists, though. The science communicators, people who are interested in science, astronomers, astronauts, literally millions of people around the world who work on satellites and things like that. They're all lying. Everybody is in on this, but yet not one single person has come forward as a whistleblower. But this guy's got all the answers. This troll doll looking motherfucker here sitting in his car has got all the answers, but everybody else is lying or wrong.
What happens if I tell you that the history teacher has been lying to you? What happens if I tell you that the professors in college have been lying to you? What happens if I tell you that globe that you've been looking at all the way up until high school is a pure lie?
I would say that you're wrong. To suggest that literally everybody, essentially everybody except for flat earthers, is either wrong or too stupid to see a lie, or lying outright. So literally, I'm talking literally now billions of people at this point, like over 1 billion people have to be in on this big conspiracy. But this guy and a few other guys like this guy are right about everything, and everybody else is wrong. Sure thing.
And you should wake up and investigate flat Earth. What would you do?
I would not waste a single second investigating it. I prefer to debunk it.
Get mad at me, wouldn't you?
Nope.
You'd thrash out.
Nope. I would laugh at you, as I regularly do. Ha ha.
Because you don't know what to do. Because every single thing that you know is a lie. And that's what happens to a person who gets into flat Earth. Okay? They first thrash. They argue. Because they want to fight for that dream that they had.
No, they don't, right? They want to be one of the in crowd. They want to be one of these special people that knows everything that everybody else in the world doesn't know. Because they're these special little gifts of creation that have all the answers, and everybody else is either wrong or lying.
It was so nice and warm and comfortable, like a nice blanket that they cuddled with.
Just on that note, right? think about it, right? Anybody watching this video, for the most part, are probably familiar with flat earthers and the kind of world of like astronomy and space flight and science, right? That's you guys. Now think about let's say you live on a street, the next 20 vehicles that drive down that street. You take all those people out of all those cars, line them up, and ask them one by one, when's the last time you thought about space flight or any of this stuff? Chances are none of them ever do. People are glued to TikTok or TV shows, or, I don't do pop culture. I just don't know anything when it comes to that stuff. Mrs. Demon, shows me pictures of these celebrities, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is. Or she'll play a song, and I'll be like, I have no idea what that is. But the average person would know that. So if you're not involved in this world, you don't care. Like if I went to my younger brother and goes, hey, the earth is flat, he'd go, okay, I don't care. Because they don't care for the most part. So this warm, cuddly blanket, nobody is holding on to this, oh, I'm so happy that NASA tells the truth. Most people don't care either way.
When they were a child. And it's now been taken away from them. That's right, your whoopee has been taken away from you.
Who or what is a wooby? What? I gotta look this up. A wooby? What's a wooby? That sounds... Hold on. Wooby. A blanket? Is that what it is? A blanket? I don't know. A blanket or something.
It's been taken away. Don't you see? Don't you understand? Everything's a fucking lie. Don't you see that the earth is flat? Don't you see that there's no curvature? Don't you see? Isn't it suspicious that we haven't been back to the moon for 50 fucking years?
Not really. No, it's not suspicious at all. We know why we haven't been back to the moon. I feel like he's going to elaborate, so, well, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see.
Nobody asks about it? Isn't it suspicious that our technology in 1969 was better than 2021?
How? How was the technology in 1969 better than 2021? Just because we're not doing the same things we did then does not mean that the technology was better then. For example, in the 80s, people used to fax things all the time. Now faxes are reserved usually for legal centers and stuff like that because they have to, but nobody really uses faxes anymore. So does that mean that the technology of that time was better than now just because we don't use that anymore? No, I've got a phone. I can send an instant message to anybody on the planet instantly. So it's just not needed anymore. It doesn't mean it was better. Just because we went somewhere, look at his face right now, by the way. It looks like he's shocked by what I said. Just because we went somewhere in the 60s that we don't go now doesn't mean that it was better then, basically. Now, I assume he's getting at the whole thing of we don't have the technology we had back then. We have better technology. Anyway, let's just move on.
Does that make any sense at all to you? Let's revisit 1969. That was the day of a landline. That's right. That big bill telephone, that was like a brick. I mean, really, let's review back to the technology. The boob tube,
The boob tube? How's that technology? That's clothing. Well, I mean, probably in some technical way it's technology, but how do you go from rockets? I'm sorry. How do you go from rockets to telephones to something that keeps your tits in? You gotta be shitting me, CC. I think this guy's like the best comedian in the world at this point. Holy
Color
shit.
TV. Wow, if you had a color TV, you were considered rich. This is 1969. Okay? So when you revisit 1969 and you look at the technology that you had back then, and you look at the technology that you have right now in 2021, and we still haven't been back to the moon.
Well, there is the Artemis project, and China are working on a hyper-accelerated project to get back to the moon. I'm a huge fan of spaceflight. I thoroughly enjoy anything to do with spaceflight. When it comes to going back to the moon, here's the real reality of it all. The moon is a very expensive place to go to, or at least it was. Now it's becoming less cost prohibitive as technology has advanced and we have better systems like reusable rockets, etc. And so going back to the moon now doesn't cost nearly as much as it would have in, let's just say, the 80s or the 90s. Look at the systems that they had back then, the space shuttle, etc. The cost of getting one of those things off the ground and into orbit and back is just astronomical, if you'll excuse the pun. Whereas nowadays we can launch rockets like Falcon Heavy, for example, for a fraction of the cost of what it would have cost to launch a vehicle from that era. So it's easier for us to go back there now. People have a yearning for space exploration. I think that's a huge part of it. There's other reasons why they want to go to the moon again, but we didn't really need to in that intermediate period of time. We had other things that we were working on. Space stations, like the space stations that we have provided us with so much scientific knowledge. It is just unbelievable. Not to mention the Hubble Space Telescope, which sadly is kind of on the way out, and other things that have been done in space. So they have to work out cost. We rely on, for the most part, NASA. They kind of lead the way. And we rely on the US government to give them money to do these things. The amount of money that NASA get from the US government is a fraction of military spending. So trying to expect them to just keep going back to the moon, why? Why would they? Why would they need to keep going back time and time again to prove it to flat earthers who are just going to call it CGI anyway? What's the use in that? Now we have the ability to go back there much, much cheaper, and people want to. Every single time I see the moon, it blows me away. I look up and I see this massive piece of rock going over my head. I'm thinking it would be so cool to be able to go back there, because when you think about things going to Mars, like rovers, etc., and you see the little blip in the sky that is Mars, you can't really relate to it. It's kind of like it's just a little light and you can't really relate to it. But then you see the moon come over your house. We had an amazing supermoon the other day. And you see it, and it's like, it's right there. I mean, I know it's really far away, but it's right there. And to look up there and think of somebody being on it while I'm looking at it, that's an amazing thing. It's an amazing feat of humanity. And to be able to do it at a fraction of the cost is just awesome. And I'm so excited for the Artemis project. I cannot wait to see this take off. Again, excuse the pun. Anyway.
There's still not a fucking base up there. There's still not people up there.
Not a base that we know about. Base Alpha. Anyway.
Don't you ask any questions? And say, fuck, something's the matter here? Something doesn't make any sense? Every single president has promised that we're going back to the moon, and every single time, we don't go.
Has every president promised we were going back to the moon? I know when Obama was in office, God, I miss Obama. Well, I remember when Obama was in office, he did mention about putting money into NASA, and he also talked about partnership programs with private companies as well. So he had this early kind of input into that as well. And a lot of that was geared towards, sending craft to the moon or to Mars, sending people back there eventually. This isn't just a thing that you can click your fingers and give out a couple of $1 billion to make it happen. This takes a lot of R&R. The huge factors involved, the massive change that took place that is allowing this to happen is rocket reusability, affordability, and the fact that rockets that are being designed right now, spacecraft that are being designed right now, are orders of magnitude more safe and more efficient than they used to be. So it makes sense now to utilize them to send human beings back to the moon. It will be an amazing thing to behold. Maybe, just maybe, it's what the world needs right now to bring us all back together in some way, shape, or form. Science, that's what we need. We need people to get back together, to work together, to go places, not that no man's gone before, but to go and explore again as humanity, not as America, not as China, but as humanity. For us to go out there, to do what us human beings have in our DNA, which is to go and explore and see different things, see amazing things. I hope that within my lifetime, people will set foot on Mars. My life's goal is to get into orbit, or at least to go above the Kármán line. Who knows, 10, 15, 20 years, it might be affordable enough to actually go on a spacecraft, go up and come right back down. That would be a dream come true for me. And that is something that I want to work towards it's a once in a lifetime thing. Well, who knows? Maybe one day it won't be a once in a lifetime thing. You can head up there to a space station for a couple of weeks for a vacation. Who knows? But anyway, sorry, I'm just very passionate about it. I think it's something that we need as humanity right now. We need stuff to just pull us together a little bit. Anyway, let's move on.
It's because the earth is flat, they can't fake it anymore. They can't fake shit anymore.
If anything, they would be able to fake it more, right? Because the quality of CGI, Freaky Blinder Fields, the quality of CGI, all that kind of stuff is so advanced now that if anything, they could send a craft to Mars and go find like evidence of, I don't know, plant life or skeletons or some shit on Mars. What would happen then? They'd pump trillions of dollars into going there and finding out what happened. Would that not make way more sense if this was some big hoax? Wouldn't that make so much sense? Because you could fake that so easily if you had to, right? But they don't need to, do they?
Okay? They can still do their little ISS dance, you know, but we see right through it. But there's absolutely no way that they could fake a landing on anything with humans walking around. They just can't.
So explain the first moon landings then. Explain all of the moon landings on the Apollo program. I would guess that you would say that they were a hoax, right? I would guess that you would say that they were fake and that we were all duped by NASA and that it was all filmed in a Hollywood basement. So why would they not be able to do it now? Again, as I said a minute ago, it's probably, actually definitely way easier to do nowadays. I can do crazy shit like that from my room right here. Believe it or not, what I've got behind me, this isn't my room. This is a green screen. I can do that in my house for, I think that was $200 because it's a good one. $200 with a camera and a free piece of software. So what would NASA be able to do? I just realized that you probably didn't even see that. Let me full screen. See? Green screen. So if I can do it, NASA can do it, right? So why would they not be able to fake it then? Not saying that that's proof they are faking it, of course. But the argument that they can't fake it anymore is just a silly one if your whole premise is that they're faking it in the first place in a time, the 1960s, when technology was so poor. Anyway.
And they're just going to continue saying that they're going to do it next year, the following year, 2031, 2041, when you finally realize that it's all bullshit. And you've wasted your time dreaming about this nonsense that you've been told all of your life and lied to, you know, and that's it. That's all. If you can't wake up to that and you can't see all around you that something's wrong, then enjoy everything that you've been doing. And
now, there is one thing that I agree with Chris on here is the unfulfilled promises. So anybody who's interested in space flight and that whole world, I guess, will have heard of the JWS, the James Webb Space Telescope. That thing's been promised for years. It's almost finished. It's terrifying how expensive it's cost, how expensive it's been, and the amount of time that's gone into it. And they've just pushed it back year after year after year. Different issues have come up. So we are holding out, hoping that that's going to go up soon because the Hubble's on the way out. So, you know, fingers crossed, we will get there. But yeah, I agree. We do get promised a lot. And sometimes it doesn't get delivered. I totally agree. Why might that be? Would it be because it's a big old hoax? Probably not. I would say the more likely reason for it is along the lines of the fact that you have to rely on Congress to give funding. You have to rely on all sorts of red tape to be cut. It's people. People are the problem. Bureaucracy is the problem. Underfunding of science is a huge problem. Anyway, moving on.
And enjoy your life, your dream, because it's going to come crashing down soon, very soon. And that's why all of this is going on. Okay? You don't shut down a world for no reason at all.
Agreed. You don't shut down a world for no reason. You shut down the world to save people from a deadly pandemic. That's just the reality of it. Now, I have to be careful what I say here, but I am sure that there have been lies. In fact, we know there have been. There's been cover-ups. People have fucked up in how they've dealt with a lot of these things. I have no doubt about it. But you look at all those families who have lost loved ones to COVID-19, and then you tell me that it was not worth locking down to save more. That's not the case, right? It was worth it. I know it's been crushing to a lot of people, myself included. It has, and I live in a place where there has not been a lot of lockdown, but it has affected me profoundly too, as I'm sure all of you have been. My family back home in Ireland, all of you, my friends in the US, in the UK, Canada, all over the world, have been affected profoundly by this thing. I hate that this has happened. I cannot wait for this to be over. The day the world opens back up, I'm jumping on a motorcycle. I'm riding to the coast. I'm going to get on a boat over to England, going to meet some of you guys, going to go see my brother and my godson. And then I'm going to ride down, get on the Eurotunnel and ride around the north of France for a couple of days. That's the goal. That's what I'm planning. Then I'm going to go to the US. I can't wait to get back out in the world. I hate this too. Nobody likes this. But anyway, moving on.
I mean, everything is. Look, they don't know what to do. They know they're at their end. Okay, they are at their end.
The big they, as always.
Because so many people are waking up right now.
I agree in a certain way, right? Actually, I do tend to agree with Chris a little bit here. Human beings in general, myself included, and probably actually more so than most people, can only be pushed so far. Now, what's being done in the world right now may be absolutely in our best interests. I absolutely 100% can see that fact. Are there nefarious actors? Of course there are. There have always been. Does that mean that everything is a conspiracy? Of course not. Are there conspiracies? Yes, there are. There are some that have been proved to be conspiracies. Chris may be right on some of the things he's saying. I wouldn't just discount it for no good reason. But the reality of the situation is that not everything is a conspiracy, but people are being pushed to their limits. There was this outbreak the other day, this case of a lady who got the Delta variant of COVID-19, and there was a huge kerfuffle because she had been vaccinated and everybody was freaking out. Thing is, she only had the first vaccination. She didn't have the booster. And my understanding is, thankfully, she hasn't been extremely sick. So that's a good result. But they were all freaking out that she got it, but her husband didn't. Oh, my goodness, how could that be? But a lot of other people around her did get it. Some people get it, some people don't. You could just get lucky, right? Now, you might think that because they're husband and wife, you get a smooch or, nighttime business, that there's a good chance that somebody's going to catch it. Sure, I would have expected it, to be honest. But just because that one case, just an anomaly. Anomalies happen. It doesn't prove a conspiracy. So just bear that in mind. The way this Delta variant has spread is quite confronting, actually. And there was a study recently done in Australia where, a certain amount of people were asked if they trust the vaccine, for example. And the majority do, but it's not a big majority. It's about 70%. And that's quite evident if you watch the live streams. The state premier gives his updates every day, and you will see that people don't trust him. They do not trust him. I have a lot of respect for our state premier. I'm not very into Australian politics, but I have a lot of respect for him. I've met the man a few times. He's a lovely guy, and I think he's done his very, very best. But you see it in the comment section. Everybody just like conspiracies constantly. So I do think this lockdown and all these things that are going on and the lack of transparency in some cases has led to people becoming very conspiratorial. That is dangerous because when people become conspiratorially minded, they make rash decisions about their health and about their life. Go and speak to your doctor. I have two doctors, two GPs that I go to, just depending on when I need to go. And I trust them immensely. They're both fantastic doctors, and I trust them. And when I speak to them, I know I'm going to get the best results that I can. Don't listen to people on Facebook. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody on YouTube. Go to your doctor, go to a professional. If you are scientifically minded and you understand, maybe go read some of the papers yourself, but don't trust your own judgment if you're not a professional in that field or if you're not an expert in that field. Speak to the experts. I heard a doctor, a GP, say something really, really stupid about how vaccines work the other day. And that shocked me because she is a GP and she was explaining how it works to somebody in a shop. And I know her because she's my local GP. I don't go to her, and she was explaining to somebody how it works. And I was like, that is not how it works. I was thinking to myself. And when I looked at Mrs. Demon, she looked at me and she was like, that's not how that works. I was like, I know, right? So find someone you trust if you're not, able to make those decisions for yourself. If you don't understand that stuff, don't trust what you read on the internet, basically. So anyway, moving on.
And if you found me, welcome to Flat Earth. Because it's not going to end. It's not going anywhere. Science has not come out and said anything to us. Science has not given us anything with a spacesuit. Science has
back it up.
said anything to us. Science has not given us anything with a spacesuit.
Science has not given us anything with the spacesuit. Can you re-English that, please? What do you mean by that? Are you saying that science has not developed spacesuits? You can buy one. You can buy used. They're not true spacesuits. They're edge of spacesuits. Ex-Russian fighter suits. You can actually buy them. Not crazy expensive. Depends on how much you're willing to pay. But you can buy spacesuits. You can see them working. They work. I mean, they've been tested in vacuum chambers and stuff like that. They do work. One of the arguments, I think it was from him, maybe somebody else before, was, why don't they put an astronaut in the suit and put them in the vacuum chamber? I think they've done that before. Any of my space friends out there, correct me on that. Why would you put someone in danger that way to test it when you could just do it with sensors, like pressure sensors and stuff? Why would you risk somebody's life? Until they get to space, fair enough. There's no doubt when you go out on a spacewalk, you're risking your life, for sure. You go out on a motorcycle, you're risking your damn life. But anyway, moving on.
Science has not proved to us exactly why there is absolutely no curve.
Correct. Science has not proved exactly why there is no curve, because there is a curve, and science proved that literally thousands of years ago, but constantly. All of science does. Go on the Himawari 8 satellite live feed. You can literally look at the Earth right now as it is. 10-minute delay, I think, a new image every 10 minutes. Because live streaming from space, especially geostationary orbit, is not really feasible. So, because it would just be, the amount of energy it would take to do it is immense. So, yeah. Science has not proved that the Earth is flat. You're absolutely correct there. It has proved the opposite. Well done. Welcome to the oblate spheroid. Anyway.
Science hasn't proven anything to us.
Except for everything. What? Yeah. Okay, right? Let's just... I know this is a long video. It was kind of intended this way, but you're talking to me through the internet on a phone in a car over wireless weird internet stuff that people 100 years ago would have thought was magic. People 20, 30 years ago would have thought was magic. And you're saying that science hasn't proved anything? Chris, with the greatest respect, you're about, I would guess, late 40s, early 50s, maybe, right? You would not have lived this long, probably, a few hundred years ago. That's the reality. The majority of human beings in the olden days, before science was a thing, just did not live that long, because most humans throughout history died of really silly things like broken legs and infections. Dental stuff was a huge killer of human beings, predators, all that kind of stuff. Science has kept you alive this long. Science is what is keeping you. I would be dead right now if it wasn't for science. If it wasn't for advancements in science, I would at least be blind. Actually, I would definitely be blind. I'm going that way anyway, but I will be blind right now. I would probably be dead too, because of some illnesses that I've had in the past that were resolved with science. So science has given us pretty much everything that makes our life what it is right now. good and bad, but mostly good, to be fair. We have an immensely high quality of life compared to a lot of people in the world right now, but also compared to people in antiquity. So anyway.
Science can't even prove the layers of the Earth.
Yes, it can. It absolutely can.
Because we haven't passed 8 miles when we dug.
Bruh. How do we know the different layers of the Earth's crust? Well, there's a few ways it's tested, one of which, and the main one is, and I can be corrected on this, of course, is seismology. How, seismic waves move through different media. That's how you can tell exactly what it is. That's quite simple, actually. We can literally test that. I'm sure we don't know inch perfect where exactly the layers are, but we have a fairly good idea, and they're quite huge as well. So the margin of error for that is quite big. We make predictions based on what we think is beneath us, based on what we've tested, and then when that actually happens, when those predictions are seen through, then we have to some extent proven. I know there's not proof in that regard, but we have shown our prediction to be true based on the evidence that we have. So for example, if you expect there to be seismic activity of a very specific form taking place in a certain area, and then that happens, then that's a very good example of us being able to figure out what's beneath our feet. I'm sure Tony could explain this a billion times better than me, but that's just it's not my area of expertise. Tony's the geography teacher, not me. Moving on.
Into the dirt. Science, you suck.
Okay, all right, let's do this then. If you think science sucks, get rid of everything that science has given you. Get rid of your car, first of all, because without science, you would not have that. You probably wouldn't have teeth, let's face it. You wouldn't have a shirt because that's probably polyester, like most of ours are. But for the love of all humanity, please do not remove it. You can keep this shirt. Science will allow it. Your healthcare, whatever healthcare you've had, get rid of it right now because science sucks. Your phone that you're telling science that it sucks through, get rid of it. Throw it right out the window before you dump your car because science sucks. So you shouldn't use it, right? The internet that you've used to fill your head with nonsense, get rid of it. Unplug it, throw it out the window because science sucks, right? Most of the food that you and I eat is here because of science. For example, corn. We wouldn't have corn if people didn't, slowly but surely use science to develop, I think it was teosinte. Teosinte was the original corn, into the corn we know today, or into wheat for your bread, etc., etc. If science sucks so much, then take everything science has given you and put it in the trash. Just don't put it in a wheelie bin because science also gave you that. Get rid of everything science gave you and then come back to me and tell me that science sucks.
Science can't prove anything. Science has not come out to us at all.
What? What does that even mean? Science has not come out to us at all. I mean, this is Pride Month. Science has been out for a long, long time. And people were persecuted for engaging in scientific activity in the past, which retarded the amount of time, retarded the progression of science. People were afraid. People who were scientists were afraid. People were called witches for doing chemistry or other kind of biology and stuff like that. People were called anti-religious for believing in some form of an evolutionary theory. A lot of those evolutionary theories were completely wrong, there's no question, but they were in the right direction, and people were ostracized from society for those things. Look at Galileo, for example. So, if anything, religion sucks, which this channel is going to be dealing with a lot more, I can tell you. But yeah, anyway, moving on.
And science has disappointed me. My professors have disappointed.
Your professors, you did not have professors, okay? I'm calling it right now. There is no way that you had professors, and if you did, they should all be fired. No, because you probably just didn't listen to them. What professors did you have that disappointed you? What scientific studies have you done with the aid of, teaching from professors that has disappointed you? I'm going to have a wild guess here and say approximately none. Moving on.
But now that I'm a flat earther and I understand why everything is aware of everything that's going on around me.
Now you understand why everything is aware of everything that's going on around you. Okay. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So you've rejected all science. Good for you. You've thrown out all of your scientific stuff, everything that's been given to you by science, because science sucks, right? And now you know the answer to everything because you're a flat earther. That went downhill fast.
I'm seeing things for the first time. You know, that's what happens when you become a flat earther.
It's also what happens when you eat mushrooms. As in those kind of mushrooms.
You don't take things for granted anymore. You don't look at something and say, hey, that's a coincidence, because there are no coincidences on flat Earth.
You're absolutely right. Let's listen back to that.
Look at something and say, hey, that's a coincidence, because there are no coincidences on flat Earth.
Absolutely correct. There are no coincidences on flat Earth because there is not a flat Earth. So there can't be coincidences. Is it coincidences or is it coincidences? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. There are no coincidences on flat Earth because there is no flat Earth. Are there coincidences on the globe, on the Earth that we all know and love? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Coincidences happen all the time. Do they freak me out sometimes? Yeah, I've had coincidences happen that have freaked me out. I'll give you an example. Just before the pandemic, I was just thinking about this the other day. Just before the pandemic, I was out shopping. Mrs. Demon was off getting her hair done. And I was out shopping. I went into this vintage store. And there was a hat in the vintage store that was, it's kind of hard to explain. It was like it was a motorcycle brand. I can't remember the name, but it had paisley designs on it. And that exact hat was a hat that a friend of mine from school used to wear. Her brother was a motocross rider, and she used to wear that hat. When I walked out the door of the shop, and my favorite coffee shop is still there today, it's right on the corner. I walked down to the coffee shop, ordered my usual little macchiato. I turned around, who was standing right in front of me? No shit, my friend from school who used to wear that hat had moved to the same city as me. Just that. Now that is a coincidence. It's a freaky one. And it almost feels like there's some kind of higher power made that happen. But then I found out that hat is really, really common and a lot of Irish people moved to Perth. So, but yeah, that was a pretty cool coincidence. Anyway, let's finish out this video. I think there's only a few seconds left.
I thank you for subbing and thank you for...
yeah, it's just as usual to sign off. Anyway, lads and lassies, thank you so much for joining me. It was a lot of fun coming back, making a video. It's been a while. It has given me the boost that I needed to get back into it. I want you all to know I love doing this. I'm passionate about making these videos and connecting with all of you guys. It's been a rough couple of weeks, and there's going to be a rough couple of weeks coming up. I've got 1 month now, actually less than a month, until I move back to Ireland, just over 20 days, till I move back to Ireland. And as you can imagine, there is an awful lot involved in preparing to move to the other side of the world. The way it differentiates from the way it differs, I should say, from when we moved here first was we moved here with a couple of backpacks on our bag and a few bucks in our pockets. That was it. Now we're moving our whole lives back to Ireland, all of our bits and pieces, our dogs, the cost of which is insane, and I will never get over it, but they're worth every penny. I mean, $6,000, more than $6,000 to send two teeny tiny dogs back to Ireland, but they're worth every penny. I would rather leave Mrs. Demon here than my dogs, truth be told. But anyway, so yeah, it's been a crazy few weeks. It's going to probably get a bit hectic again. I'm managing it much, much better now. I'm in a much better place. I feel much better. I feel much happier. And I realize that making these videos is really important to me. It is a huge part of who I am now, and I love it. And I love you guys. I'd be lost without a lot of you. The messages of support, the well wishes, the support on Patreon, channel memberships, PayPal, all that stuff has just been amazing, and it helps more than you could ever imagine, be that financially or not. It really, really does. Those messages of support, while I may not have been able to respond to a lot of them, they didn't go unnoticed, and I really do appreciate it. I want to thank my friends here as well in Australia who've been an amazing support to me. Chando, Marnie, and a few others who've just been absolutely awesome. And Talia, of course, my bestie here in Australia. She's just awesome. I appreciate you guys so much. On the matter, just a couple of things to a bit of housekeeping, ladies and gentlemen. Chando's a really good friend of mine here in Australia. We go riding together. He's an awesome dude, and he's an absolutely wonderful creator. Now, he doesn't make videos like this. He makes music videos. He's an artist, and he's really, really good. His music is kind of really nice, vibey, chill out music. I will leave a link in the description down below. I did share it on my community tab. He's an awesome guy, awesome creator, and a good friend. So please do go check him out. Give him some love over on that channel. I would love to get him up to a higher sub count. He's worth every minute of it. So do check him out. The other person that I want to shout out right now is JL Warren. JL Warren had a debate the other day with Otangelo. And I listen to debates all the time, and I'll get to that in just a minute. I listen to debates all the time, and I thoroughly enjoy debates. And what makes a debate good is, to me, is a debater who really knows what they're talking about, is passionate, and is able to deliver what they're saying really, really well. I can honestly say very few people do it as well as JL Warren. And I'm not just saying that because he's a fellow beardsman. I'm not just saying that because he's my brother from another mother, but I genuinely mean it. He is a fantastic debater. He really is great. And I cannot wait to see more from him. I put him right up there with one of my favorite debaters in the world, Aaron Ra. Another favorite debater of mine in the world is Christopher Hitchens. I've read pretty much everything that Christopher Hitchens has written. And he's somebody that I greatly admired and looked up to before he sadly passed away. And I watch Hitch Slap videos all the time, and I genuinely put JL Warren in that exact same category. So JL, you have an incredible talent. You're an amazing person, and I believe in you 100%. I've said it since day one, and I can't wait to see you grow as a creator. And yeah. We got to talk. We got to come up with some ideas for sure. But yeah, he's absolutely awesome. Go check him out. I really would appreciate it. And finally, before I go, another thing that I would recommend you guys check out that is well worth it. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Aaron Ra. I really have always enjoyed his stuff. I used to watch Aaron Ra videos long before I got into this community or into the flat earth world. The whole religious thing was a passion of mine for years and years, and I used to read quite deeply into it. Not near with the expertise of like JL Warren or Aaron Ra, not even remotely close, but something that I thoroughly enjoyed and found very interesting. So what I would recommend as an awesome binge watch session for you, I love to listen to YouTube videos while I work. I do a lot of painting now, airbrushing and stuff like that, which I love to do. And one of the great things that I've been watching is Aaron Ra's most recent collection of videos responding to Kent Holvin's DVDs or whatever they are, his videos about the lies in the textbooks. I highly recommend you check them out. They're really, really great. And Aaron Ra is just awesome. He's an awesome creator. So definitely go check that out. Give him all the support you can. He's a really important person in our community and somebody I greatly respect. But anyway, lads and lassies, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a shorter stay away than I thought it would be, which is a good thing because I wanted this to just kind of develop naturally. I didn't want to set a date on when I came back because I didn't want to put myself under too much pressure. But I missed it. I miss making these videos. I miss all you guys. I miss reading your comments and getting into it with some of you and having a good time. But anyway, lads and lassies, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Make sure and hit that like button, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so before. And yeah, get in touch. Hit me up if you got any debates or anything that you want to do or whatever. Anyway, lads and lassies, thank you so much. Good to meet you. Good slancha.